So now we're going to welcome our guest Emmanuel, who was one of the students from Thinkcloudly who achieved his path in the field of DevOps. He's going to let us know about his journey, that how he achieved his goals, what obstacles he faced. So let's listen from Emmanuel itself. So everyone, please welcome Emmanuel. Hey, Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Emmanuel, I can hear you.
Good. Well, good day, everyone, and good day to you, Naman, and the entire Thinkcloudly team. I hope you all are doing great today. Like you can see on the screen, and already introduced by the organizers of this meeting today, my name is Emmanuel Agbo, and I'm originally from Nigeria, but now I live in the United States. So I find this as a big privilege and honor to be invited as a guest speaker for today WebEx. And like earlier mentioned, I would be, speaking on my journey so far into the tech field, my challenges, and telling you some few stories that helped me, which I believe will also help all of us here as well. So I will start, by telling you about my journey. Many years ago, while I was still back in Nigeria, I've always had the dream of becoming a doctor. But along the line, as I grow, as my taste begin to change, I thought it wise that at that point I should go into the field of computer science. So I searched for admission and I went back to school and I got my national diploma in computer science. At that point, I was just thinking about, studying computer science and then maybe become, a computer technician, just the basic level, of being a computer scientist. I never thought of going into the cloud or into the DevOps or into the automation process of the tech industry. So when I moved, to the United States, my taste for becoming more grounded in the tech industry, begin to grow even more wider. So I went back to school again and I enrolled in a community college, where I picked up a major in the information, technology with concentration in cybersecurity. At this point, many of you or some people we asked and said, oh, you had a national diploma in computer science already, so why are you going back to start from the scratch? But here is my reason for doing that. The reason I went back again to get an associate degree despite my having a national diploma is because I wanted to be more grounded in this field. I want to know more. I want to start all over and know more so that when eventually I get into the job or into the field, I should not be tossed here and there, not knowing what to do. So that was the reason I started all over. So at this time that I was still in school studying for my associate degree, I have a lot of friends who are already into DevOps, already into the cloud, already into the cybersecurity industry. And they keep telling me, hey, Emmanuel, while we know you are in school and you're studying information technology, but we still want you to see if you can get these skills in DevOps engineering and cloud engineering. At first, I never gave it a listening ear, but as time goes on, many of my friends kept pushing me and said, no, this is the right way for you to go. Whatever you're doing right now, it is still good, but for the future of how the world is evolving and how everything is beginning to move towards the cloud environment, would you just try this? I said, okay. At that point, I was still struggling. I do not have money to pay for classes in my regular school and then pay for classes to go for DevOps class and all of the cloud engineering classes. So I asked one of my friends if he had some materials that I can teach myself with. And he said yes. And then he sent me some of the DevOps materials. So he sent me these materials and I started training myself, started doing all the labs, started watching the videos attached, for each of the labs. At this point, it became so daunting for me because time management, I have to share my time between the job I was doing at that time and going to classes and then creating time to attend to these DevOps labs. But then I kept pushing. I said, well, I would not just come to the US, go to school, graduate, and then begin to look for a job that pays just the minimum wage. I said, no, I would rather spend the sleepless night aiming for the high paying jobs. That was my motivation. So even when I am tempted to jump in my bed, when my bed is calling me to come sleep, I would say, no, I have a target. I have a goal ahead of me. So why not push harder? Do 1 or 2 labs before you go to bed. So that was how I kept training myself in all of these labs, setting up my cloud environment, doing all that I needed to do. Like I said, at some point, I felt discouraged because of the stress involved. And sometimes I would just shut my computer. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. But while I'm away doing something else, there is a voice calling me back to it. I said, no, you can do this. You are a strong guy. You can do this. And I will run back to my system again. I will turn it on and I will keep pushing. I will keep pushing. I will keep pushing. Whenever I try to provision any infrastructure or do any of the labs and I get confused, thankfully enough to one of my friends who is also my namesake, Emmanuel, he also took some classes, some Kubernetes classes with Thinkcloudly as well. He has always been there for me and I will call upon him. Hey guy, I don't know this. I'm getting confused. I can't go past through this stage. Can you help me out? And as a brother and a friend he will drive down to my house. And when he cannot drive down, he will make sure to set up a Zoom meeting with me and he will troubleshoot with me. He will show me how to get through that stage. And that brings me back to advising the student, even though I'm going to go into that later on, but that brings me back to advising the student. If you want to succeed in any field, especially in the field of tech, cloud, cybersecurity, please try as much as possible to surround yourself with like-minded friends, friends that are heading to the same direction, friends that are already having the same skills you are trying to acquire. Please try to surround yourself with such friends. So Emmanuel will help me through the stages and then I will get it done. At some point, I became more confident and I was able to deploy some infrastructure, some processes myself without having to call on anybody until I finished those lab while still in school for my associate degree. I graduated with my associate degree and within 2 months, I enrolled again in another school for my bachelor's degree because I do not want to give it any space at all because time is of essence to me. So I went back to school and getting a bachelor's degree in computer information system, which is still in the same line with what I did earlier and in the same line with whatever I need to do in the future in the tech industry, while still training and getting myself set up for this high-paying job. So at some point, I say, yeah, I have my friend Emmanuel who is guiding, who is coaching me, but I still needed to be in a classroom where I can get a feedback from instructor, where I can ask instructors questions, where I can get the real world, the real life experience one-on-one with instructor. So I sat on my own and I went online. I started searching for some of these organizations that teach, tech skills, and I started reading their review, and Thinkcloudly popped up. I went through the review of the Thinkcloudly and it stood out to me. Then I reached out to the phone number I have at the time listed on their website. Thankfully enough, I got a response, have a conversation. They ran me down through their benefit, what they do, how they've been set up, and all of that. And it pricked my interest. So I signed up again with Thinkcloudly to get a more in-depth knowledge about DevOps and cloud engineering. And thankfully enough, Thinkcloudly assigned to me a very wonderful instructor. At the start of that class, I think we were about 3 or 4 in the class, but along the line, most of my classmates, dropped, not because they do not have the motivation, but because, one problem or the other, some priorities started springing up and they needed to attend to all of that. So I was the only one left in the class for that particular batch. And every night between the hour of 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., the instructor will be with me. He will coach me. He will teach me. Even things that I already knew myself, I will still throw those questions to him, and he will make sure to clear my doubts. And at the end of the day, at the end of that class, I became more confident of myself. I can speak boldly about most of the steps, about most of the project anywhere. Then I graduated, from a class with Thinkcloudly, but I was still always in touch with Naman and his team. The reason is because I believe whenever you graduate from an institution, you should always have a link falling back to them, because somehow along your journey, they will still be there to guide you, or they will still be there to be part of your journey. So I've always been in contact with Thinkcloudly, and they have never disappointed me. That is how my journey into the tech field went.
So is it really impossible to land a job? Like if you
No,
don't have any background, is it impossible or is it possible?
it is very, very possible to land a job, especially when you have your training with the right people and when you are consistent and dedicated to what you're doing. It is very possible to land a job. At first, I was thinking it is very impossible, but when I take this dimension and I begin to work on myself and attending more interview, it is very, very possible to land a job within a short period of time, and even a good job at that matter. So it is very possible.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for what you said. I think our audience, they feel very motivated. Even I am inspired today, listening to you, that what background you had and what you actually wanted to do in the life. And today you are able to succeed just because you made some sacrifices at the right time. So what do you think, guys? Do you feel inspired by Emmanuel? Is there anyone who feels inspired? And I think thank you so much, on behalf of the complete Thinkcloudly team, and from all the audiences who are here. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, man, always.
Yeah, definitely we'll again have a talk after this. And yeah, so I am hoping that you'll be here with us afterwards. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll be here to the end of the program.
Thank you.
And before I go, I would like to please the students. I am still a student in this organization and I am still joining for other classes, and I will always encourage you, please try as much as possible to attend your classes. And you see this weekly live project Thinkcloudly is doing, it is very important. That was what helped me in my interview. And programs like this particular one we are in right now, please try not to miss it and try to invite people in there. That may change people's mindset and they will begin to go into a project like this. So thank you. That is what I just wanted to chip in.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Switch from non-IT to IT today. Explore www.thinkcloudly.com.